Have you ever wished you had a handbook for how to be a great house guest? Should you bring a gift, your own towels? For the answers, we turn to traveler extraordinaire Randall MacDonald. I spoke with him earlier. Here is that conversation. Thank you so much for joining us, Randall. So, you know, lots of people right now are evacuated from their homes. They're unable to be at home, so they might be staying with their friends, their family. Do the rules kind of go out the window when you're hosting, you know, an evacuee?
Oh, 100%. So everything we're going to talk about today is sort of that when things are normal and a standard sort of isn't staying. Absolutely. If you're hosting an evacuee or if you're an evacuee being hosted, rules go out the window. They get to, you know, make a mess. You rub their feet. I mean, everything.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
That makes complete sense. But okay, so what if, you know, say I'm going to stay with a family member, a friend, somewhere where I'm not at home, I'm not close to home. Is there anything I should do before I go?
Well, I think one of the things you want to do is, you know, you brought up about if they're not close to home. So what's the purpose of the visit? So is this somebody you haven't seen in a very long time? So to me, that sounds like, you know, you're going to London, England, you're catching up with somebody you haven't seen in 5 years. The expectation at that point is that you're going to spend time with your host. I mean, obviously during the day you're probably touring, but the expectation is you're going to spend time together. If it's somebody that you see all the time, you're just whipping down to Calgary to spend some time, that's not the expectation. I think a good rule of thumb always to be really upfront with what your schedule is and ask your host what their schedule is. So did they get time off? Are they still working? Meaning if they have to get up early in the morning, come in quiet at night. If they do have the time off, it's always nice, I think, to make a plan to spend the morning with your host, have some coffee, and then get out of their hair. Unless the plan is that they want to spend the day with you.
Unless they're going sightseeing with you or
Correct. Correct.
That makes sense. And what about packing your own items? I see you have some stuff here.
Right. So I think as a host, you need to provide your guests with some things in the bathroom. Now, generally speaking, the rule of thumb is you want to provide a bath towel, a hand towel, and a face cloth. Okay. I also think it's quite nice to provide smalls in the bathroom. As we know, we always are on the plane going, oh, shoot.
I forgot that.
I forgot that. And that is my biggest fear in life. So it's always nice to have a small shampoo, a small conditioner, a small lotion, and a small mouthwash in the bathroom.
Feels luxurious.
It feels luxurious. And you know what I always say? You go to these hotels, and if you don't use it, take it with you, and then just make a little basket for yourself.
That's perfect. Now,
if you are a messy person, or this is just reality, you know, especially for women and a lot of men now too, makeup. Yeah. Makeup can be very messy and damaging to towels. And there's this real movement to white towels, which makeup and white towels do not mix. So if you know that's you, bring your own towels. And I would also suggest you bring your own pillowcase. Yeah. Because as much as you try and get the makeup off, there's often residual. So this way it's on your stuff, it's your mess, you take it with you and the host isn't left dealing with it.
We were just talking about this off air. I feel like now I'm going to be one of those people who does that because I've never thought about it, but I've wrecked some of my own towels.
There you go.
So I don't want to wreck somebody else's.
Exactly. I'm mad at myself. I can't, you know, don't want them mad at me too.
So what about when you're a host? How do you set boundaries? You know, say that schedule hasn't been put in place, but you need your own time. How do you set boundaries when you're having somebody come over?
Right. And you know what? I really just, again, I go back to communication. I think communication is always super important. And I think as a guest, most of the obligation lies on you when you're going to someone. You're invading their personal space. Right. And you need to be really conscious about that. I always think when I do stay at someone's home, I'm to be the mouse. I'm to be as invisible and quiet as possible. Barely there. So again, it's about, you know, cleaning up after yourself, keeping your space clean. And it also makes a difference on the place you're staying. So if it's a big house and you've got your own room or wing, you be as messy as you want because you're not affecting your host. But if you're sleeping on their couch, that's a way different thing. Yeah. So what you want to do in the morning, you want to, you know, get all the bed sheets off the couch. You want to put your stuff in your suitcase. You want to be as invisible as possible. And, you know, again, going back to communication, I also think it's really important to ask your host how they want your space left.
Like strip the bed or something.
100%. So I always ask a couple questions. where do you want me to put the towels? And you know, it's interesting. Hosts are often quite surprised by that question. I don't think they're asked it quite often. Sometimes they're like, just throw them in the tub, kind of like a hotel. Other people say, well, the laundry room is here, so no problem. I gather it all up and put it on top of the washing machine. And yes, stripping the bed. Because again, you're trying to make be the least amount of bother to your host who has done this favor for you.
I love how you said a wing. I want to stay somewhere where I get my own wing.
Well, you know, actually, we stayed at a friend's place in Scottsdale. And yeah, we had our own wing. It was like awesome.
That would be amazing.
It was awesome.
Okay, just lastly, quickly, do we bring a gift?
100%. So you need to thank your hostess for having you. So bring something thoughtful, or another nice thing to do is take them out for dinner. But I really like this idea, and I've done this before. Bring all the ingredients with you. If you're driving and not flying, bring all the ingredients with you and cook them dinner. So host them in their home, and that includes cleanup.
I love that. That's great. Thank you so much for this, Randall.
Thank
Lots
you.
of great tips for when we're staying at somebody else's place.
Exactly.